So right after the Buddha had received parinirvana, which is when he had received full enlightenment, and also connected with his death in 483 BCE, his disciples decided to gather together in Prajagra in the Bihar region for the first Buddhist council. They decided that it was important to collect all the Buddha's sayings and collect them in a body that's called the suttas or the sutras. Ananda, whom you remember from the first session, was the one who was able to kind of retell or recount all of the sayings of the Buddha, because he was always around him. And then there was another person by the name of Upali, who began to write down all the monastic disciplines, all the kinds of things that the Buddha taught about how people should practice Buddhism. And he connected that in the Vinayas. After this first Buddhist council, there was a second council a little bit later, where 700 monks or arhats came together to continue to interpret the lessons that were given by the Buddha. And they were collected then in the Abhidharma. The second council was in Vaisali, which is also in the Bihar region, which we remember from Jainism, right? This probably happened around 300 BCE. After that, there was a third council that was put together in Pataliputra in the Ashoka region. And during this time, there was a whole collection of all of the monks coming together, and they were debating about certain practices that certain groups had deviated from the original teachings of the Buddha. It is here where a split occurred between those who wanted to hold on to the path of the elders, which is translated called Theravada, and another group that was called Sarvastivada, which brought in some innovations that Theravada monks did not agree with. That split never came back together. There were two fourth councils, one by Sarvastivadis in the year 78 BCE in Kundalban in Kashmir, which was visited by 500 bhikkhus, monks. And then there was another fourth council much later, also in the 1st century sometime BCE in Sri Lanka. That was the group of Theravada monks that got together for a fourth council. The Sarvastivada group at some point morphed into what we know today as Mahayana. So what we want to recap here is the main writings. It's called those three different types of writings. It's the Tripitaka, which is the three baskets, or it's also oftentimes called the Pali Canon, because those writings were originally written in the Pali language. And the writings in the Tripitaka are basically accepted by all Buddhists, whether they are from the Theravada group or from the Mahayana branch. And those three baskets are the basket of the Vinayas, which are the monastic rules, how monks, Buddhist monks, will exercise their faith. The second basket is the basket of suttas, or sutras, as it is called in Sanskrit and other languages, which are the sayings of the Buddha that were collected by Ananda. And then there is the third basket that are the interpretations of the Vinayas and also the sutras. That's the Abhidhamma basket. You can watch this next video to go into more details again about the first and second Buddhist council and also the Tripitaka. This video might be also a little bit difficult to listen to because the woman who narrates this has a pretty strong accent or also doesn't pronounce very well. But listen to her. I think it is not too bad if you're listening on your computer.